Hi, I'm Charbria Shine, and welcome back to Max Out Girl. Because today we have a Women in Business Spotlight.
Yes.
Woo, woo. We have an amazing special guest. We have Marissa Lynn Jones. She is the Executive Director of the League of Chicago Theaters.
Yes.
So thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule because I know it is a hectic time for you. You guys have a lot going on. So thank you so much.
I'm glad to do this.
Yes, thank you. So we have a very special podcast episode today because she is just going to inspire you. We're just going to kind of talk about her journey. You guys know I love theater, so it is amazing to be here with you today. And so we're going to get right into it. So you're the Executive Director of the League of Chicago Theaters, but we're not going to talk yet about that, but have you always loved theater? Let's just jump into that.
Yes. So I've always loved performance. Always loved story sharing. You know, this is how we pass down our culture. This is how we open up different people's perspective and tell our own stories. So I've always had an interest in that, from writing to performance and music and dance. I've loved everything about the arts from the beginning.
I love it. So have you had any lessons when you were young? Like, what did you do?
Yeah, so my grandmother, my mother, all of them can sing, all of them can perform. You know, I didn't get that gene, so I had to come by it in other ways. But we did a lot of performance when I was little. So, you know, Black History plays at church, you know, storytelling, doing, you know, Hey Black Child, and all of the poetry. And so I really loved that community that was built around that, and being able to really, as a young Black kid, being able to express yourself in these different ways and also learn about culture. So that's how we kind of got started, and that stayed with me ever since, that love for story sharing and being able to create these identities and move throughout different spaces, really sharing all of the different stories from people's different backgrounds, that ancestry and passing things down. So that's where I think it all got started. It's been embedded from the beginning.
So you said in church, so it kind of sparked that interest when you guys were doing your plays. I remember we were talking before we started the podcast, you said Black church, it was a great experience.
Yeah, you know, Black church itself is like a performance, right? You got the choir gets going, the preacher with the storytelling, but we use the opportunities to really talk about the things that used to happen in terms of racism, in terms of knowing who we are as a people. We used storytelling. We used to put on, you know, performances of The Wiz, which you know just went to Broadway, right? But we used to just do it in our church community, or even when you're telling, you know, some of the Bible stories, we would do that. But mostly to pass down the experiences that our ancestors had and how we learn from that, how we move forward as a community. So that was the main things. And my mom would be the ones writing the plays. My dad would be pulling furniture from places. You know, we're getting costumes from friends and family members. So it really was production. It really was theater in its rarest local form.
So theater's in your blood. It was a family affair,
basically. It was a family affair from the beginning.
So exciting. So that sparked that interest. But how did you get here? Did you after that say, you know what? I'm taking it to another level. Like, I need to go to school for theater. I need to be in all these shows. Like, were you in shows at school and high school, or did you join groups, or was it just church and then you went to school?
Yeah, so really in high school, and this is another story, but I ended up going to boarding school for high school.
Okay.
So, you know, got experience with a whole nother set of tax brackets, a whole nother set of people.
That's a different world.
And you know, the quality of their productions and what they showed you, I really got to tap into that a little bit more and do some elective classes around theater and taking a deep dive into breaking down the text, seeing what the classical works were, being a part of productions, doing stage management and directing. And so I really tapped into it in high school. And then I decided to keep it going when I went into college. Now they have, you know, performing arts management or theater management as an actual track. When I went to school, they didn't have that opportunity. So I ended up going for 2 separate degrees, international business and then theater acting. And so I had to go an extra year. I was in school for 5 years. And at the time, I didn't know that it was called producing or theater management or nonprofit management. I just knew that someday I wanted to help or do performance on a large scale. And so I said, look, I need to know how to do international business because we're not going to be in one community. We're going to take this worldwide. And then I also need to know all the details of what it takes behind the scenes to put a production together. And that's all I really knew going into those 2 degrees.
Yeah, wow.
And then it wasn't until my junior year in college where there was an elective called Performing Arts Management that had us the whole class was us putting together our own theater company.
Nice.
And so we literally spent the whole first week on mission statement, and I learned so much in that class, and I came out of that class saying, this is what I want to do with my life.
This was your senior year?
This was my my junior year, and then I had two senior years because I was there for 5 years. But I knew from that point, I was like, everything we did in that class was what I wanted to do with my life. So even knowing about nonprofit and that everything that you do has to go back to the mission statement, right? So it was just such a valuable lesson for me. And then the final for that class was our professors coming around with Monopoly money, and we had to get them to invest into our nonprofit
like
theater
a pitch,
model.
huh?
Yeah, so I loved every piece of that, and getting to continue to do that every day with what I do now is really exciting.
So was your road a straight, direct road from there to here?
Oh, I wish.
We all do, right? We all do. So what happened after that? So you took your 5 years, you discovered your junior year, this is what I want to do. After you graduated, what was that like? Was it scary? Was it like, I already have a job lined up? What did you do?
It was very interesting. So because I went to school, ended up going to school in Iowa, so I went to Drake University for school.
Okay.
I had 2 options when I graduated. I could either work for a major bank, because Iowa has a major bank that's home there, and I was on the international business track.
Yeah.
Or I could join the Shakespeare group.
Did you join the Shakespeare group?
For a summer. I joined the Shakespeare group.
Tour for the summer?
And tour for the summer.
Sounds fun to me.
As You Like It was the play, and we just toured like the Midwest.
Nice.
And I'm glad I did that. I'm glad I had that experience, and I think as much I spent my time building as much experience in the different sectors of the theater as possible.
Yes.
So I've been a touring actor now. I've been
that's awesome.
In the development sector. So I did internships and apprenticeships around Chicago in different departments and at different size theaters. So I was at Broadway in Chicago on a large scale, doing operations and facilities. So I was going around making sure that they had the right things in the background for the actors, doing the safety checks, making sure the building was up to code, all of those things for the multiple theaters. I was at another theater company where I was doing development, so cold calling for donations.
Oh, how was that? That's rough, right?
That's not my favorite. It's not my favorite.
Mine either.
But it is necessary.
It's needed.
And then I did events as well. So, curation. I did membership. I took bits and pieces from the different places that I worked and learned how to expand on those.
Nice.
So, I had to work I've worked multiple jobs since forever.
Yeah.
I've worked since forever, but, to supplement those internship programs, I was working 2 or 3 jobs, it's hard work. And
for sure.
I think a lot of people say this when they get older, but it really is true. It's the people that you come up with, those are going to be the people that are going to be getting you your work in the future, and those are the people you should really stay connected to. I think a lot of people try to level up or say, I need to talk to I need to talk to Kamala, see I can get in the room with her, but it's really the people who are right next to you in school or in the jobs that you're taking that are going to be those connections. We're all growing together, hopefully.
Yes.
So just really staying connected to those people. So I built a lot of relationships through doing that intern work and the grunt work, or whatever people call it. Built a lot of relationships during that time in the Chicago theater community.
Nice, I love that. And so after you did the Shakespeare tour, what was the track to getting here?
Yeah, so I did. I did that. I did interning across Chicago, so Broadway, Chicago, American Theater Company.
So you just kept going
to different departments. Yeah. I did the LA thing for a year. I moved out to LA.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
How was that? You were just like, I need to just get out there.
I was like, I want to see what for acting,
yeah.
to see what it was like and what opportunities were out there. During that time, that was when what did they call it? The video shorts were. So Issa Rae was just doing Awkward Black Girl.
Okay.
A lot of those shorts on YouTube, that was the big thing in LA at the time. So that was a lot of the circuit.
Okay.
I worked 3 jobs while I was there in LA.
You was hustling. I know that's right.
And then I ended up coming back here to American Theater Company. That's a whole other
rabbit trail.
That's a whole other. It was like either fate or depending on how people see it. But long story short, my roommate ended up getting us kicked out from the apartment. So now I'm in LA with no place to stay.
That sucks,
staying on somebody's couch, my cousin's couch. And at the time, I had been interviewing across the country, just online, and still looking at different opportunities across the country. So I did LA for about a year, and I came home on a break to see, if I was going to move back to LA. At that time, I had an interview, and I got offered a job with American Theater Company back here in Chicago, and I decided to take that. I did a year with them doing development and events, and really got to grow. That was about like a small to mid-size theater organization.
Okay.
So learned a lot about that time. Learned a lot about board development and fundraising, which is important if you're in nonprofit theater models. And so I did that for a year. I really enjoyed it. And then I kept applying though.
Yeah.
And I think that's an important thing
that's
too.
Key.
Is you have to, you're not going to get the opportunities you don't apply for.
Yeah.
And the league, this is a full circle moment. The league has a job board. So I had known about the league job board. I had applied to different things on there. I had an opportunity that I saw on there at Goodman Theater for an apprenticeship position.
Nice.
And I ended up getting the role. So it was their first ever apprenticeship position. It was under their executive director, Rock. And so I applied. I ended up getting the role. I always say that was my grad school experience.
Nice. You learned so much from there, right?
I learned, yes. I was there for 8 years.
Wow, that's awesome.
And I started as the executive director's apprentice, and because he had never had an apprentice before, I kind of got to tell him, like, this is what you should do with me. I should go to everything. I should, see everything. I should be in every room you're in.
And he went for it.
And he did. And so
That's awesome.
Worked out. I always say that was a privileged opportunity because, it was very different from coming in at an entry level position. I have direct access to the head of the whole organization, and he's literally just like, okay, well, whatever room I'm in, she's going to be in. Whatever hard conversation I'm having, she's going to hear.
Nice.
Whatever,
that's awesome. Yeah.
And they sent me to conferences and all of these things, and part of that first year, I worked and went to every meetings, Lord help me. I went to every meeting that took place in every department.
Wow.
So I got to see how that organization ran from the inside out.
Love that.
Every decision that was being made and why. And then I wasn't just a seat at the table, I was also a voice.
Nice,
so I got to,
hands-on
they asked
experience.
me for input, they asked me for my perspective. And so that first year was really pivotal to my growth as well. I got to bring everything that I learned from all the other theaters I worked at into this new institution and grow with that. And then I got to create my own position to stay at the organization after my first year.
Wow.
So,
and then stay for 8 years.
And stay for 8 years.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah,
but like you said, it was
grow.
meant to be. So now you're here.
Yes.
You're executive director. Woo-hoo.
Yes.
Congratulations. You may give me a high five. You done made it, girl. You hit now.
Hard journey. No, we're
so
here.
what does an executive director of the league actually do?
a lot.
I mean, I'm sure it's a lot, but in a nutshell, which you can't put it in a nutshell, I don't know, but what would be kind of like some daily tasks that you would maybe oversee or do?
Yeah, because now I'm learning just how much leadership is about service, because you really are, you really do everything. But for the short part of a long story,
yeah.
My goal is to make sure that, so the league is all about making sure the theater industry thrives in Chicago.
Okay.
My goal is to make sure that we are building equitable resources, that we are advocating on the city and state level for funding, for space, for creating opportunities for artists when they move to Chicago from different places to be able to be successful. Nice. And so what me and my team are doing on a daily basis is reaching out for campaigning opportunities so that the small theater that just started in one of the 77 neighborhoods is able to be seen just as much as people who know Broadway shows and Steppenwolf and Goodman, right? Is to make sure that we are building this family where the theaters who are larger can support the theaters that are smaller, and that we are able to share as many resources as possible. So a part of that is what we're doing this week. We're working on several different initiatives. One of them, we're working with DCASE, the Department of Cultural Affairs and Special Events, to create a 5-year plan for how we can help the theater industry, which has had one of the hardest recoveries from the pandemic. Yeah, so we were one of the last industries to return, and then
I was sad. I was trying to come to a show.
Right? People are trying to come. We thought we were getting there, and then Omicron came, and we were like, "Dang, we got to get back." So looking at those strategies. Working with Choose Chicago, with the Chicago Loop Alliance, with the Department of Tourism for the state, making sure that we have as many opportunities as possible. We run 5 different websites, so we have our job board, making sure that people have access to jobs and information. We have our casting call board, so we make sure actors also have information. We have Hot Ticks, which is accessible.
Which I've gotten tickets from there.
Yeah, accessible tickets, making sure that we are priced so that theater isn't just for a certain market in the audience, but also that anybody who wants to see theater has an opportunity. And then we have our resources, so we do training and certification. We do programming, so we have industry nights and events. We have Chicago Theater Week, which we host, and it just goes on and on.
So much.
There's never,
but it's so awesome, though.
A dull moment.
Yeah. I was gonna say. So, what's your busiest time? Is it now? Because right now you have Theater Week about to come up, right?
Yes. So
tell us about that. Some cool stuff. If you're a theater enthusiast, some cool stuff coming up.
So Theater Week is February 8th through 18th this year. We give tickets for $30 or $15 or less, so people can get $10 tickets at certain organizations. But it's an opportunity where we really want people who think theater, they think, oh, I got to pay a car note to see a show.
Yeah.
We want people to have an opportunity to take their whole family or their friends and see theater, not only in their neighborhood, but across the city. So, we have shows like Blue Man Group, that people still haven't, people still haven't experienced it. They'll now have the opportunity to do that. They'll have the opportunity to see these pre-Broadway shows for these discounted ticket rates. And that's really what it's about, because exposure is everything. And being able to see shows, especially for youth, to being able to see the opportunities that there are in the theater industry that are on stage, but also part of that story that you're seeing is directors, is choreography, is stage lighting.
Awesome.
There's all these other doors that are open to people in the industry, so making sure that they're aware of that as well. So yes, we're in our busy season with Chicago Theater Week, and also with the holiday shows that we just wrapped up, but it's very exciting for the work we have ahead. And we're actually hosting the National Theater Conference.
Wow, when is that?
That's going to be in June.
To go to that.
It'll be in June. We'll be here the 3rd week of June.
Nice.
With TCG, which is the national entity that does what we do. So we're gearing up for that in June. It's going to be a good first 6 months for all of us.
Nice.
Yeah.
So actually, while you're talking about the holiday shows, we saw Boop the musical, me and my husband.
It's very vibrant. It was very vibrant. It was that production quality.
I loved it.
Yeah. The story was a story, but the production quality, it's about Boop.
It was about Boop. It was so cute.
But it was and the lead, she was phenomenal.
She was amazing. So I guess she was in Mean Girls as well on Broadway. As not the lead.
She's been up and coming for a little minute, but this will definitely give her that exposure.
Now, do you think they're going to go to Broadway?
I think that's what they're trying to do. I definitely think this was a preview for
really good. I liked it. Yeah. I know after that they might tweak some things, you know, to get it Broadway ready, but it was pretty cool to go to.
Yeah, The Wiz also came for pre-Broadway here as well.
I love that we get that here. I love that they come here.
Chicago is the place for theater. You know, I think a lot of people focus on New York, but Chicago is the theater capital. We push out so many playwrights. We have so many new theaters, Tony Award-winning theaters, and we're continuing to bring new talent here and develop new talent here. So
I love it.
I'm happy to see what we look like in the next couple of years.
Yeah, that's amazing. And of course, I will continue to support. I love theater. I'm in theater. I'm all about theater, so I'll definitely be at the shows.
Yes.
And that's where I found out about you in the theater guide. And I remember I told you the article, and it was I loved it because I love the holidays. I love everything that you said, and I was like, I need to contact her. Yeah. Let's get this on the books.
I'm glad this happened.
Yes, of course. So where can they find you, or where can they find more information about Theater Week, about some of the other things you guys have coming up?
Yes, so I would say follow Chicago Plays across all social media at Chicago Plays. I'm Miss Riss for You on social media, or Marissa Lynn Jones on LinkedIn. But yeah, we have hottix.com. We have chicagoplays.com. Like I said, we have 50 million websites, but those are the main ones. Hottix.org is where you find the discounted tickets. Chicagoplays.com is where you find all the tickets, and those go straight to the theater company's websites.
Nice. Yeah. Well, thank you, Marissa, for coming on and talking to me.
Yeah, anytime.
Yes,
Thank you.
Of course. So, guys, as you know, we have this podcast going. I love to bring women on here to encourage you guys to go after your dreams, to hear their amazing stories, to hear how they got from point A to point Z, right? That's what we love here, to encourage you. So, as you guys know, for me, you can follow me at Charbria Shine, at Max Out Girl. Go to charbriashine.com for upcoming events, and right now we have our mini play series. Woo woo! All right, so you guys know Dr. Love the Stage play is February 10th, and then we have in April 6th we're going to have the Ladies Lounge, and also we have, I just changed the one, it is May 4th. We are going to have, I'm trying to think, it's not Rescue Me. It is Little Black Dress. Woo! I have to remember, guys, because we just changed our season. So go ahead and check that out. And in September of this year, we are going to have Single Woman Chronicles in a Chicago theater. So we will see you guys soon. As always, I hope we said something that encouraged, inspired, and elevated your thinking. I'm Charbria Shine. Talk to you next time. You better max out, girl. Right. Bye, guys.